Hello, good morning,
Good
guys.
morning, bonjour.
I hope that you are doing well. This morning we have just woken up. By the way, you can see it is written all over our face. Yeah, we are going to share some tips with you about learning a new language. We know that some people, it is very hard for them to learn a new language, but we are here to help to share our tips. Um, yeah, my wife is there. She's gonna share how she learned, for instance, Spanish.
Okay, so it's really interesting because I moved to Mexico in February of 2020, and when I moved there, I only knew like a few phrases in Spanish. So the way that I became fluent was when I went to Mexico, I refused to speak English despite my Spanish no me knowing that my Spanish sounded weird. The people in Mexico really embraced me and really were just so happy that I was trying to speak Spanish because a lot of Americans, unfortunately, when they move to Mexico, they don't try to learn the language. They just try expect that the Mexicans learn English and then communicate with them directly, which is very unfortunate. But for me, I love the language of Spanish. One thing I did was when I would watch TV, I watched movies in Spanish. I put the Spanish subtitles, so I was listening to Spanish and I was reading the Spanish. I would read Spanish books, Spanish. I would just speak Spanish no matter what. Once I learned a phrase, I would say it all the time. I would always listen to people speak to me in Spanish. And I would always ask people, like, say, if I would start a sentence and then a word would come up that I wasn't sure how to say, I would ask them, ¿Cómo se dice this in Espanol? ¿Cómo se dice means, how do you say this in Spanish? And then they would tell me, and then I would just speak it. I lived in Mexico for about 5.5 years, and I just got to the point where I was speaking it. I was talking with people. I was able to go in when I did my interview for permanent residency. I did it with Mexican immigration, and the interview was completely in Spanish, and that was in 2023. And I did the interview in Spanish, and they didn't speak English. So when I was doing my interview, I had to speak Spanish. So I mean, it's amazing. And then even I taught classes in Spanish when I taught in San Diego, California. So I would go into classrooms where it was a course that was specifically in Spanish, or it was a course that was bilingual, and I had to speak in Spanish to the students and teach them. So I'm really, really proud that I got to that level of being able to speak Spanish.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this experience. We hope it helps someone out there. We're gonna come later to also share new tips so that you can be fluent in whatever the language you're learning. We know, I teach English, and I want you to be fluent. I want someone from Benin, for instance, when he sees